Hi everyone, this is Koinzell here. So today I'm going to do a progression video from C0 to C1 to C2 to C3 and R1 to R5. And the team comp that we're going to use here is a full damage buff comp, Kazuha, Sarah, and Bennett. So Bennett is basically replacing Xingqiu or Zhongli compared to my first video, the day 1 quick showcase video, where we use mono electro or electro charge comp. So this time around, this is a full damage buff comp, and we're going to look at the figures, damage figures for C0 R1, C1 R1, C2 R1, C3 R1, and C3 R5. Yeah, at the end of it, I'll compile the figures for comparison and showing the percentage difference as well. After that, I will talk about C4 to C6, and we'll end the video there. So let's see the C0 R1 run itself with Bennett's buff now, instead of Zhongli or Xingqiu. Two 74941. 274941. This is the initial burst hit damage. This figure here is the elemental skill proc. So 274941 at C0 R1 is pretty nice, right? But bear in mind that my talent level right now is also higher than when we did the Electro Charge comp video. Electro Charge comp was 166k on the initial hit. That was burst level 6. Now I'm at burst level 8 because I managed to complete the Archon quest today, and we did the Sinora boss, the 60 raising. Trounce domain, to be exact, to use the official name. Okay, so let's take note of the normal hits during the burst stance after this as well. So it's about 36 and 38k. Yeah, it's a bit fast. So the first hit was 36k and then 38k, and now this is the 40k. The figures that you see here now, the damage is starting to drop off because some of the buffs have been done. Specifically Sarah's buff. Okay, so this is the run itself. Let's look at the team comp, the stats. So this is the stat on my Bennett. With the weapon, the Constellations, C5, talent level 12 on the burst. 168 like I mentioned. Attack is 1809. Crit rate, we took a crit rate foot, the 20% crit rate foot pancake. ER without weapon effect is 258.9%. Okay, all of this is without buffs. Four-piece emblem, R1 weapon, C0. Alright, now let's look at C2. Wait, right, sorry. Before that, I should talk about Sarah. So this is my Sarah stat, R5 Skyward Hub, then crit rate and crit damage, ER. ER is too much in my opinion. I don't need that much ER. At least for her A4 talent. C6 Sarah. So base level 6 talents. This is my Kazuha using R5 Freedom Swan and full EM, 985 EM. Not full EM per se, but high enough. And with the C2, because my Kazuha is C3, so with the C2 effect, we have 1185 EM. So it's still giving 47.4% elemental damage buff, which is very nice. Okay, so these are the stats. Yes, these are max out supports. But come on, Genshin is a four character team game. Okay. Now let's move on to look at C1 R1, the run itself. Ooh, that was a bit too fast. 307068. This is the burst initial hit. 307068. Very nice, right? 307068. It's about 20 to 30k more, about 10% more. But I'll show you guys the actual I'll show you guys the actual percentage difference. And you see the normal hits, it was 42k and 46k now. Okay, so this is the C1 R1 run. So like I said, it's C1. Okay, and everything else remains the same. It's just C1. The difference is only C1. But C1 is really good if you will use at least one Electro character with preferably like a 80 energy burst. Just want to show everything else is the same. Okay. Let's get our C2. C2 is the one that gives you a huge boost, ignoring 60% of opponent's defense. It's very nice. Okay, so with this, let's go on to do the C2 R1 run. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, let's look out for the figure now. 440147. The previous figure was something like 307k, right? So we got like 130k, 132, 33k more damage. It's crazy, and even our elemental skill is doing a lot more damage. If you notice, elemental skill was like 13k. Now we are at 19k. But that should not be the case, right? For C2. C2's effect only works on her burst. Maybe it triggers because it's the burst that triggers, so it has the 60% defense effect. I'm not sure. But either way, 440147. Very nice. This is the C2. The most important constellation on Raiden Shogun. If it's on the normal hits, right, it's 50k, but this is not accurate because this is in her combo, this is the weakest one. But I will just take it as is. If I'm not wrong, there was a there was a 66k. I missed that. 66818. Okay? 66818. So C2 is looking really good. In all this figure, this is with some of the buffs active, not even all the buffs yet. So C2. Talent, everything else is the same. So now we'll go for C3R1 next. Let me just show you guys the C3. C3 is pretty straightforward, it's just getting 3 levels of a burst level. But it adds a lot of damage. And I can show you guys now. So this is C3R1. Sorry. 532094. Okay, that's the damage. I apologize for that because I was clicking too fast. I ended up skipping a hit. So 532094. This is the damage with C3R1. This burst initial hit is 532094. Wow. Oh wait. Other than the initial hit, you notice that the normal hits during her burst stance mode is already dealing like 73k. Which is really high, by the way, for how fast she's attacking. Don't forget how fast she's attacking. You can achieve these figures with Wu Tao Vaporize, but it's at the speed of a charge attacks. This is highly spammable. Not to mention the elemental skill prot. If I add it together, it's 90k damage, man. But obviously the prot doesn't, it procs only every 0.9 seconds, not every hit. Because she attacks really fast in her burst stance. So yeah, damage is very nice at C3R1. Full attack buff is 4.2k with R1. With all the teammates buff, we are buffed to 4.2k. Everything remains the same, just at C3. Okay. So next thing I'm gonna do, obviously the burst level is 11 because of the C3 effect. The next thing I'm gonna do is to get my weapon to R5. Okay, let me just skip ahead to that portion. Okay, while I show the refinement footage, right? I just want to say that each refinement really doesn't add that much, but at R5, There's a difference because at R5 you are able to easily hit the max attack of 120% attack, whereas at R1 my advice is just to go for the 58.8% attack, which is at 310 ER, because you can't sacrifice too much CR/CD. 310 ER is good enough for R1, even if you don't get the max attack of 80%. So the important thing about R5 is that it allows you to easily hit the 120% attack cap. Alright, now let's look at the actual C3 R5 run itself. This is my C3 R5 run. Do you guys see that? One shot. Okay, technically speaking, not one shot, since with all the 3 buffs in effect after having cast them, he did lose about 10% of his HP. But look at what our Sarah's burst was dealing. Was almost 100k damage, which is very nice. 626446. Our one-shot figure here. 626446. And Jovishet died in one shot. I still have 6 seconds left on our burst stance mode. That will allow us to go crazy on the damage. I'm pretty sure it's also more than 73k per hit on crits. So yeah, it's a lot of damage. Okay, if you saw my math video, it's very easy. M41C's damage is almost the same as her initial burst hit. You should be able to do 2 of the M41C within the 6 seconds, which means for her burst stance, after casting a burst for the next 7 seconds, you will deal a total of 1.8 million damage. Just wow, right? Okay, so anyway, I have compiled all the figures. Let me just show you guys. Okay, I've taken in the feedback to lower the music volume, but I can't completely remove the music volume because if my baby cries without music, it's going to be very obvious. I can tell you guys I had to redo my video recording because my baby ended up crying like crazy in the midst of my first recording. That's unfortunate, but yeah, that's just what happens when you have a baby, right? Okay, sorry for the jump. SL always has interference with. Seriously? Okay, sorry. This should work now. Yeah. So, burst initial hit, these are all the figures that I just showed you guys in this video. This is the percentage difference. So when you go from C0 to R1, it's about 11.7%, which matches the previous math videos that I've done. Remember that the burst level is not the same. That's why there's some slight difference. This burst level 8. My math video was using minimum burst level 9. C1 to C2, we got a 43.3% buff, which is very nice. Sorry. In my math video, it's 42.9%. I believe the small little difference may be due to the Jovishet level. I can't remember if the Jovishet was level 90. But our math was done based on level 90. Okay. C3 R1. When you go from C2 to C3, you get a 20.9% buff, which is very nice considering that it's just 3 talent levels. But this is what I've always been saying. People underestimate the effect that the talent levels, the C3 and C5 gives. And when you go from R1 to R5, you get a 17.7% buff. But it's because this figure will be bigger if in a different team comp. And I'll explain more later. But first, let me talk about the burst stance attacks. So burst stance attacks here. At C0 R1 it was about 36k to 40k. C1 R1 was 42 to 46k. C2 R1 was about 60 plus k. C3 R1 was 73k. Okay. So I did not do exact figures because for the sake of my sanity, I don't want to redo the Jovishet for, I don't know, 20 plus, 30 plus times. Because I focus mainly on getting crit on the first hit. If I have to focus on getting crit on first hit and crit on the rest of the hits, I'll go crazy with the number of retries we will have to do on Jovishet. So yeah, this is a range. So I'm putting a range of figures here for you guys to appreciate the kind of damage difference that we will get. But more importantly, looking at the burst, this is the percentage difference. And you can also infer M41C actually does about the same as the burst initial hit. Right? And for C3R5, I have no figure for the burst stance attacks because Geofisher it was dead. It was dead after the first hit, the initial burst. So yeah. Okay, now let's talk about the attacks, right? The R1 to R5. The reason why R5 does lesser than the percentage per figures in our math video is because we have a lot of attack buffs, all the way up to 4.8k if you saw earlier, and this full damage buff comp, which is obviously meant for multiple bosses or for one-shot bosses. So whether or not it is feasible to do that's the same comp in the Spiral Abyss really depends on your ER. I have not tried it out yet. I have not tried out the new Spiral Abyss. Honestly speaking, I only managed to clear our conquest today. That's why we got the talents from level 6 to level 8, the base talent. Okay. So yeah, apologize for that, but I'm running out of time on my. I don't really have enough time in real life right now because of the between the baby and work. But I'll try my best to do what I can in terms of the testings and the video content. So character attack, just a reminder, is at 2.2k on R5 before team buffs. On R1 it was to 1.8k, so you get about 400 attack from going from R1 to R5. But depending on your team comp, the R5 percentage boost may be a diminishing return, because obviously this particular team comp that we have here does result in a diminishing return for the R1 to R5. Because R1 to R5, basically what you get is attack percent. From 58.8% attack, if you use my math figures, to all the way to 120% attack at R5. In fact, in my comp, I wasn't at the how should I put it? I wasn't at the 180. Sorry, I wasn't at the 120% attack. I was slacking a bit. My ER. Okay. Okay, I wanted to show. Yeah, 4.8k. This is with the full buff. 4.8k attack. R5 weapon. Everything else remains the same. C3. So the attack was 4.8k because of all the buffs. This is what I'm talking about. That's why the R1 to R5 has a diminishing return. And my ER is also not at the max cap. I did not get 120% attack from R5. I am lacking about 6+% ER because you need 314.3% for the 120% attack cap. So anyway, that was what I was talking about with regards to the video. So one last thing I wanted to talk about is her constellations. So C4 to C6 basically. Now C4 is nice, but it only gets applied after her Musou Ishin ends, which means after her burst stance mode ends. And if you, it's still nice. It's just that in certain scenarios, there may not be much enemies for you left to enjoy that full 10 seconds of the 30% bonus attack. Assuming you have built your Baal to like what I just showed. If not, this is still nice. But if what I just showed was C3, by the way, this is the next constellation. So it really depends on your artifacts and your weapon. But I'll say C4 is pretty nice because 30% attack buff is better than most of other constellations. Typically on constellations you see something like 20% attack. C5. Personally, I think this is good in the sense, only in the sense of saving you 4 boss materials, the Sinora boss materials, as well as 22 gold talent books. Because it's quite a bad constellation. Her elemental skill really doesn't contribute a lot of damage. The damage bonus, yes, we want to get level 9 for the max burst damage bonus from her elemental skill. But between 6 and 9, the difference is only about 3 or 4%. I did the math before in one of the videos. So yeah, this is not that great. C6 sounds fantastic on paper, because other than doing energy restoration, she will also reduce elemental burst cooldown for team members. So this really depends on whether or not your other team members have decent ER. If they are members who have decent ER, this will be useful. Because for me personally, I do remember when I do certain domains, I always have energy. I have the full energy, but my cooldown is not ready. I have managed to encounter such scenarios before. So this is where this will be really good. I'll probably try to find a chance to test this in Spiral Abyss. Unfortunately, I don't have the chance to test it, but I'll definitely want to test this in Spiral Abyss. But first off, we'll probably test with either C5 or C3 Baal before testing the C6 so that we can compare. Okay, so anyway, these are my thoughts on the C4 to C6. As for C1 to C3, we have actual gameplay footage to show you guys the actual DPS, because her C1 to C3 really affects her damage, while C4 to C6 is a bit not so much on the damage, but for other utilities like buffing her team members and reducing cooldown on her team members. So probably on the weekend I will have more opportunity to test out all this stuff. In fact, today I only managed to clear the Archon quest. That's why our talent level went from 6 to 8, the base talent level. Okay? I think I already mentioned that, right? Yeah. Okay, so anyway, if you like the content, remember to like the video and click subscribe for more. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys next video. Bye.